I know the college football season is still months away, but it's never too early to put out a top 25 poll, right? Today, I'm going to be sharing with you guys my way too damn early top 25 for the 2021 college football season. Are these going to be the 25 teams that are ranked? If I were to guess, probably not, but these are just how I'd rank teams 1 through 25 if I were given a vote. Now, this video was all in good fun, so if your favorite team is ranked too low or not ranked at all, well, keep it PG-13 in the comments. If you're new to the channel, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on those notifications. I post a lot of college football content, so if you'd enjoy more videos like this in the future, then this is definitely the place for you. Also, this Thursday, I will be live on my channel during the NFL Draft. I'll be answering your draft questions, reacting to the draft as it's happening, as well as hosting multiple guests. It's going to be a fun time, so make sure to stop by on Thursday during the draft. We'll kick off this top 25 with one of the most surprising teams of 2020, Louisiana. They cracked the AP poll for the first time in program history and finished the season 10-1. They've now won at least 10 games in back-to-back seasons, and they very well can make it 3 in a row. They almost went undefeated last year, with their lone loss of the season coming by 3 points. Billy Napier turned down some pretty big coaching offers to remain at Louisiana. They returned a lot of talent and opened the season on the road at Texas for a huge game. What the Ragin' Cajuns have accomplished the last 2 seasons should 100% earn them a spot in the top 25 to begin the season. Number 24 goes to the Miami Hurricanes. Now, this was a very tough one for me to gauge. Now, overall, they have a lot of great talent, but with that being said, they also lose a lot of talent to the NFL. D'Eriq King should be ready for the season opener, but there's a chance he won't be. I think when healthy, he's a top 10 quarterback in the country, and he was great for them last season. They do open up the season against Alabama, so they're already 0-1 to begin the year, which isn't ideal. Miami has been slowly turning the corner over the last few years, and they had a very impressive 8-3 campaign last year. Can they be a threat in the ACC this year? Sure, but until I know more on the health of D'Eriq King and see how they look with all the lost talent, I'm going to be very hesitant on them. At number 23, we have the TCU Horned Frogs. If they can build off the end of their 2020 season, they can be a sneaky good team in the Big 12 this year. They won 5 of their final 6 games and were playing like one of the hottest teams in the country to close out the year. 2020 was the first time that the Horned Frogs weren't ranked in the top 25 at all since 2004, so it just goes to show how rare of a season last year was for them. They're losing some key pieces on defense, but overall, this is a team that still returns a lot of talent, especially on offense. At number 22, we have my Arizona State Sun Devils. Now, I'd really like to put them higher, but they just don't have much of a sample size from last year to base this off of. They played only 4 games due to COVID, and their record doesn't show the big picture. They easily could have gone undefeated, but they had some heartbreaking losses in the final minute of the games. I've said this before, but Jaden Daniels is the most underrated quarterback in the nation. He very well could be in the running for the Heisman next season. In addition to having one of the most underrated quarterbacks in the country, ASU, in my opinion, has arguably the most underrated running back duo in the country. Not to mention, they return majority of their talent on offense and on defense. Now, I'm not going to get too ahead of myself, but don't be surprised if the Sun Devils are the Pac-12 champs next season. We'll stay in the Pac-12 for number 21 as we have the Washington Huskies. Just like ASU, their season was pretty small due to COVID, as they played only 4 games, going 3-1. However, I really liked what I saw from the Huskies during those 4 games. They'll be returning a lot of talent this offseason, and they also signed the #1 pocket passer in the ESPN 300 list. Washington is always one of those teams that's near the top of the Pac-12 standings, and given a full season, I expect them to be near the top once again. A new year, and yet again, we're going to overhype Texas and put them in the top 25, as I have them at number 20. Now, I know they always get a lot of hate, but they're consistently a pretty good team. Also, whenever they lose, it's usually by less than 1 possession, as all 3 of their losses last season were by 1 possession, so they still had a chance to win every game. The Tom Herman experiment didn't quite work, and now the Longhorns are going to give Steve Sarkisian a shot with the hopes that he can get them back to the promised land. Texas brings back some great talent, including quarterback Casey Thompson and running back Bijan Robinson, who look like some of the best young offensive weapons in the Big 12. If Texas can work on late game situations and turn the outcome in their favor, they definitely can be in the hunt for the Big 12 title this year. Coming in at number 19, we have LSU. Now, I wasn't expecting them to compete for another national championship in 2020, but I don't think any of us expected them to have the season that they did last year. Now, I'm not saying that they're going to be back competing for the SEC title, but I definitely think that they're going to improve and can be at least a 9-win team. This team has far too much talent to finish at 500 again, and injuries and a crazy COVID season definitely impacted them. The quarterback battle is going to be interesting, as both Miles Brennan and Max Johnson are going to be competing for that spot. Not to mention, they have arguably one of the top defensive prospects in the nation with Derek Stingley, which will certainly help. Last season, the Florida Gators were my early season prediction to make a splash and end up in the college football playoff. They were well on their way, but they just fell out completely at the end of the season. Heading into next year, I have them at number 18. Losing Kyle Trask and Kyle Pitts certainly hurts, but I think they'll still be in the hunt for the SEC in 2021. It'll be really tough for them to be back in the SEC title game, I think, as there are just too many question marks with the offense at the moment. Plus, Florida's defense last year struggled pretty badly. Florida is a team where I could see them finishing with 9 to 10 wins and being in the hunt for the SEC, or I could see them struggling to win 8 games. But I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt and think that they have a very nice season. At number 17, we have Oklahoma State. Luckily, they return quarterback Spencer Sanders, but they lose their top running back Chuba Hubbard and wide receiver Tylan Wallace. Now, they still have some very nice returning offensive weapons, but it's going to be tough to replicate those two players right away. Luckily for the Cowboys, though, their defense has really improved over the years, and I think that trend is going to continue in 2021. Sanders is going to be one of the top quarterbacks in the Big 12, which definitely is going to help out Oklahoma State. Coming in at number 16 is the Oregon Ducks. The Ducks had a down season in 2020, but they still won the Pac-12 and played in the Fiesta Bowl. So if things go right, they definitely can do the same next season. They did lose a lot of talent and have a major question mark at quarterback. Tyler Shuck is gone, and Anthony Brown wasn't anything too exciting. Although some offensive weapons are gone, this defense for the Ducks is going to be nasty, led by Kayvon Thibodeau and Noah Sewell. For Oregon, I think it honestly will come down to the play of whoever the quarterback is. The defense is going to be solid, and they have a pretty easy conference schedule, which makes up for the fact that they have to face Ohio State on the road. If the Ducks can get great quarterback play, they'll easily be a top 10 team in the country. Up next at number 15, we have the Coastal Carolina Chanticleers. The real question with this team is, can they repeat what they did in 2020? For the most part, they're going to be returning a lot of talent. Most importantly, quarterback Grayson McCall. CJ Marable and Taron Jackson are gone, but for the most part, this is going to be the same team that won 11 games last season. I don't think they're going to have the exact same amount of success as last year, as they're now a team that's circled on everyone's schedule, but I see no reason as to why they can't be a consistent top 15 or a top 20 team next season. It goes to the Wisconsin Badgers. They had a disappointing season last year, but they were affected pretty badly by COVID. In fact, you can make the case that they were affected the most by COVID. We know their defense will be incredible again, and they're going to have an incredible offensive line. So it all comes down to the play of Graham Mertz, in my opinion. He showed flashes of being a really good quarterback last year, but I think he needs to take the next step in order for Wisconsin to be fighting for a spot in the Big Ten title game, which I definitely think can happen. Number 13 on our list goes to USC. In my opinion, the winner of the South and the Pac-12 is going to be either USC or Arizona State. However, I think that USC has the best chance of reaching the college football playoff in the Pac-12. They return a lot of talent, including quarterback Kedon Slovis, who's going to be a Heisman Trophy candidate. I think there's a strong chance that this can be the best USC team they've had since Sam Darnold won a Rose Bowl for them. Now, the only reason I don't have them just a bit higher is because I simply can't trust them. Clay Helton underwhelms every year, and there's a chance that this team can finish the season unranked yet again. I believe in the talent, but I need them to prove that they can consistently be a top 15 team in the rankings. Number 12 goes to the Iowa Hawkeyes. After starting the year with a couple of losses, which by the way were by a combined 5 points, they finished the year with 6 consecutive wins and were playing like one of the hottest teams in the country. They return a lot on offense, including their quarterback and running back, and I definitely think that's going to be a huge boost for them. Not only that, they returned some solid talent on their offensive line and on defense. Had it not been for those close losses to begin the season, there's a chance that Iowa could have actually been competing for a playoff spot, as crazy as that is to think about. At number 11, we have the Indiana Hoosiers. Now, a year ago, who would have thought that they'd be this high? Assuming they start the season ranked, this is going to be the first time since 1969 Indiana is ranked to begin a season. They were one of my favorite teams in all of college football last year, and Tom Allen quickly became one of my favorite coaches. They finished the season 6-2, and that was after losing their starting quarterback, Michael Penix Jr., to a torn ACL. He'll be back most likely, along with a lot of their talent, and most importantly, their defense, which was one of the best in the entire country last year. Now, I don't think that this team was a one-year wonder. If anything, I think there's a chance that they're going to be even better than they were last year. Coming in at number 10, I have Notre Dame. Their time in the ACC is done, and unfortunately, they go back to being an independent. Notre Dame made the college football playoff last year and actually covered the spread against Alabama, which I was shocked by. They did lose Ian Book, which I think will definitely hurt them a bit. They also lost some really good talent on both sides to the NFL draft. But it's Notre Dame, so they'll replace them just fine. I don't think this Fighting Irish team will be as good as last season, but I think they're still worthy of being a borderline top 10 team. Plus, it's Notre Dame, so you know they're going to be placed a little higher than they probably deserve to be. Number 9 brings us the North Carolina Tar Heels, and man, do I want to put them higher on this list. I think that this North Carolina team is going to be really good in 2021. What Mac Brown has accomplished there during his short time has been incredible. Sam Howell is my way too early 2021 Heisman frontrunner and potentially the first player to be taken in the 2022 NFL Draft. North Carolina does lose a lot of talent. They lose both their starting running backs, their top wide receiver, and some pieces on defense, but I think they're going to be just fine. 6 of North Carolina's defensive starters were freshmen or sophomore this past season. The only team in the ACC I think standing in their way is going to be Clemson, but they don't even have to worry about playing them during the regular season. I know they play Miami and they play Notre Dame, but there's a very solid chance that North Carolina can go undefeated during the regular season. Number 8 has Texas A&M. Had Kellen Mond return, I'd likely have them in my top 5. Still, this will be a very good Aggies team. They ended the season on an 8-game winning streak, and many people thought that they deserved a shot at the college football playoff. When it comes to the 2022 NFL Draft, the Aggies will have a lot of players selected in the first couple of rounds, so the talent on this team for 2021 is certainly going to be something. Up next at number 7, I have Iowa State. They could have lost head coach Matt Campbell as he received multiple offers to go elsewhere, but he chose to stay because he knows he's got something special with the Cyclones team. They return quarterback Brock Purdy and running back Breece Hall, giving them arguably the best quarterback-running back duo in the entire country next season. This past season was one of the best in program history, and they're going to be returning essentially everyone. If anyone's going to take down Oklahoma to win the Big 12 and get a spot in the playoff, it's going to be Iowa State. At number 6, we have Cincinnati, who was a missed field goal away from finishing last season undefeated. Head coach Luke Fickell opted to remain with the program as he's been building something remarkable there over the years. Desmond Ridder is coming back, who could be a Heisman candidate this season. They lose some key pieces on defense, but I see no reason why this team shouldn't be viewed as the same team that nearly went undefeated last year. For Cincinnati, they're going to have a fantastic opportunity to show the country that they're deserving of being in the conversation of being a playoff team. They have road games at Notre Dame and at Indiana next year. If the Bearcats can win both and finish the season undefeated, they should have a spot reserved for them in the playoff. Alright, it's time to get to the top 5. Now, for the most part, I think everyone has the same 5 teams, it's just a matter of what order you have them ranked. At number 5 though, I have Ohio State, who we saw in the national championship last season. They did lose Justin Fields, but they have quite the talented quarterback room there currently. At this point, I'm not certain who's going to win the battle, so I'll hold off on all the hypothetical situations surrounding that. They lose some talent across the board, but we all know that that will make a difference because the talent they have returning is absolutely absurd, along with the new talent that's going to be getting a chance to see the field. Ohio State truly does next man up, almost as good as anybody else. Number 4 on our rankings is going to be Georgia. They have a quarterback who very well could win the Heisman in JT Daniels. And this Bulldogs team looked like a completely different animal once he took over. He also gets most of his receivers back, which will greatly benefit the offense. The defense is solid, and they did lose a few pieces, but they were still one of the best in the SEC last year. Their defense is going to be great again in 2021, but I really think this has a chance to be the best offense from Georgia we've seen in years. Number 3 might go to the best offense in the country in 2021, Oklahoma. After a slow start to their season in 2020, they were playing some of the best football in the second half of the year. Spencer Rattler really was coming into his own, and he'll be putting up video game numbers this season, and he'll be making a strong push at winning the Heisman. We know the offense is going to be fine, but the Sooners' defense has really been improving as of late. This past season, they ranked 2nd in the Big 12 in scoring defense and in run defense, and they were 3rd in total defense. Number 2 is going to be the Clemson Tigers. It felt weird not seeing them in the national title game this past year, but I think we can expect them to be back this season. DJ Uiagalelei looked very good when we saw him last year, and I think he'll be more than capable of leading this Tigers offense. They lost a really solid amount of talent, but it's Clemson. They got 5 and 4 stars all across the board, so they'll quickly fill in those holes nicely. The Tigers will get to prove themselves right away as they play Georgia to kick off the season. A potential national championship matchup is something that we're going to be getting in week 1. And finally, coming in at number 1, we have Alabama. And I know, surprise. After winning it all last season, Alabama is, in my opinion, the team to beat in 2021. And I think they're also going to be the best team. Mac Jones is gone, but former 5-star quarterback Bryce Young is going to take over. Alabama loses arguably more talent than any other program, but that's what happens when you have more talent than any other program. As I said with some of these other schools, Alabama is going to be just fine. We've seen them restock on a year-to-year basis, and this season won't be any different. Until someone is able to do it next year, Alabama is going to be the team to beat. Well, that wraps up my way too early top 25. Are these going to be the top 25 teams ranked to start the season? Probably not. Are these going to be the 25 teams ranked to finish the season? Well, I sure as hell hope so, because then I'll look like an absolute genius. Drop a comment down below and share with me your thoughts on the rankings. Did I have a team too high or too low, or not have a team that I should have had ranked? Let me know. Again, let's try and keep this civil in the comments, as this is all in just some good fun. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on those notifications. If you love college football content, then this is definitely the place for you. Again, make sure to stay tuned, as next Thursday I'll be going live during the NFL draft, talking about the draft, answering your guys' questions. So if you'd like to join in on the fun, ask me some NFL draft questions. I'll see all you guys there next Thursday, live during the draft. As always, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you all in my next video.